Hey, welcome to our channel. Should I say channel? Or to our Facebook, wherever you are viewing us. My name is Jeremy Lukoski. This is my lovely wife, Selwa. We are the creators of 24/6, and it's been a while, but we are back with a sip and chat. And tonight we are both sipping on a Cabernet Franc. Chenin, is that? She took French in high school. I did the Spanish, but it's from France. We got a subscription to Dry Farm Wines. They're really good. It's low sugar, vegan, so therefore it is clean. There's no gelatin used as a clarifying agent, which is big, and organic, just really good.
Very
clean
wine.
Fresh wine. And so far, this is our first box that we got from them, and we have really enjoyed it, and we'll be getting more boxes in the future. So we are talking health. We have a lot to talk about regarding health, and I would say that it is a passion of ours, something that we invest in a lot.
Heavily.
We invest a lot into our health, and I'm a true believer that your health is your true wealth. Health is wealth, and we see it that way. So therefore, we make decisions and invest into it because that's what it is. It gives you gains, right? So
it's very important. It's also very timely.
Very timely.
All of the crazy stuff that's been
but we'll
happening in our
get
world.
into that later. I guess let's talk about how it all started. So we did things a little differently than I guess a lot of people do. When we first got married back in 2010, the beginning of our health journey, I think, was it directly after we got married, or was it a little bit after that?
It was pretty soon after we got married,
within
a year.
Yeah, we decided, we made a choice. We actually decided to get healthier right after getting married. A lot of people tend to get comfortable, I would say, and kind of indulge in their in certain habits that would be unhealthy once they get married, because they're like, I'm taken, who am I trying to impress anyway? I already got, Mr. or Mrs. Right. And so we took a different approach. We started to look into our health, and the starting point of it was through a company, an MLM called Isagenix. And so we started that shortly after we got married. We were living in an apartment in Matthews at the time. Not that that's important, but
those people watching won't know where that is.
No, but essentially what it is, it's a shake company, and they offer other products as well regarding health, but it's really big on cleansing.
Cellular cleanse.
That was
product.
Like the selling point of it, and the whole thing was getting nutrition into your body, since our food source is depleted of nutrition, and also getting toxins out, because we live in a toxic world. We have a lot of toxins in our environment that get into our body, not just from consumption, but also through skin and just products that you use every day, makeup, cleaning solutions, and all that stuff. So
a big part of how it started was my sister-in-law had an autoimmune condition. She was suffering from chronic fatigue, had all kinds of skin issues, just a lot of stuff going on with her health, didn't know what was wrong. They started doing some research, and they found Isagenix. That's how they got us into it. But we just saw a huge transformation take place with her. She went from sleeping 14 hours a day to sleeping normally again within just a few weeks, and it was because she was flooding her body with all of this really good nutrition. So that's how it started for us, was just seeing her kind of overcome that those autoimmune symptoms that she was having. And a side effect of that was weight loss, because when you cleanse your body of these toxins, the fat that accumulates in your cells as a result of those toxins being there tends to melt away.
Yeah, the whole idea is that when a toxin enters your body, in order to protect itself, will take a little bit of fat and I think a little bit of water, and it wraps it around that toxin and it stores it away. So when you are cleansing yourself of these toxins, it naturally is going to expel the fat as well. And so the way the system was kind of worked out, we started, I think it was like a 14-day where you do...
It was like a 30-day cleanse.
It was 30-day, that's right. And that consisted of shakes, and then you have... you do cleanse days, and you would do 2 cleanse days in a row. So you would not eat any food, but you would take in this detox drink that supplies you with the nutrients that you need, even though you're not getting food, because as many of you may know, that when you fast, your body will naturally detoxify. And so the whole idea was that you'd take this cleanse drink and get the nutrients that your body needs for that day, but you wouldn't be eating solid foods, so your digestive system would be shut down and your body would be allowed to cleanse and pull out those toxins in your body. So, and I think you had a total of, in the 30-day, I think it was 2 sets of cleanse days. So a total of 4
cleanse days
days. Yeah, so 4 days where you were fasting with no food and just taking the detox drink. And we saw great results with that.
We started
off
working
the bat.
out.
I started working out. Had
We're doing
increased
P90X.
energy. We had brain fog was gone, more mental clarity, and we did a P90X back with the first P90X. So it was like an hour, working out a day, which was a huge commitment. And now with 4 kids, we don't have that kind of time. But we crushed it. We did it for the full 3 months. We were in the best shape of our lives. We're currently trying to get back to that status. We're getting there. Takes a little bit longer, I think, with increased age and also 4 kids, right? Because we can't work out an hour a day. And so we saw great results. And then something happened. We started to plateau. Noticed the energy was kind of diminished. The brain fog was kind of coming back. It wasn't, as nearly as bad as it was before we started, but and then we started looking into the things that were in it and
why that might have happened.
Yes, and so it's a great product, and especially if you're just getting your foot into the door with health, it really started our journey and really made us think about what we put in our bodies, and especially from a toxicity standpoint and nutrition, right? And so and I would say this too, for people wanting to lose weight in a healthy way and do it fast, it's a great choice to have.
It's a really good stepping stone. And not all of the products, well, we're going to get into some of the ingredients. I guess you want to segue into that?
Well, yeah. So we just noticed that a lot of the, I guess, were they minerals? They were synthetic vitamins.
In the shakes were synthetic.
Synthetic vitamins, and also too, we learned that your body can only absorb a certain amount of vitamins a day, right? And so.
And also the minerals and other things that you're taking in affect the absorption of those vitamins as well.
Yes.
So it all works holistically together.
And so if it's just packed with a whole bunch of vitamins, your body's going to get some of it, and then it's just going to pee the rest out, and then you just have a lot of, you essentially have expensive pee because you're peeing a lot of those vitamins out because your body's already absorbed, as much as it could absorb. But like I said, it's a great way to lose weight in a healthy way relatively quickly. We saw people who had great results, and people who lost a lot of weight and didn't have extra skin, because it actually helps with your skin's elasticity and allows your skin to kind of snap back. So really good in that aspect. I would say, though, it's something that I wouldn't recommend doing long term. For us, once we started kind of getting off isogenics, and we still did the shakes.
The shakes are good.
Every now and then.
The plant-based shakes, I don't think they do have all the synthetic vitamins.
Yeah, so we moved to the plant-based vegan plant-based shakes for a while, and saw that as a way to get good nutrition and protein in every day.
So it was basically a stepping stone and a way for us to learn
about
what it means to be healthy, and these are some of the topics that we're going to be covering in the future.
Being conscious of what we put in our body, reading food labels, knowing what is a toxin, what's not. And so that shifted our whole thought process and mindset when we went shopping. After isogenics, we started to buy healthier food, organic food, staying away from highly processed, highly toxic food, and then that was probably around the time that you got pregnant with our first born.
So when I got pregnant with our first, we were invited to go to an event at our chiropractor's office, who's still our chiropractor today. But that was our first time meeting her.
You were like 8 months pregnant.
I was in my third trimester. So we went to this event. It was basically a health event talking about the benefits of chiropractic care and what it means to be healthy and how chiropractic care influences your health and your immune system. So that's when we kind of learned about the effect of chiropractic.
And it just made sense. And kind of, if you're not familiar with chiropractic care, the kind of the nuts and bolts of it is that your spine is your powerhouse. It's what protects your spinal cord, which goes to your nervous system. Your nervous system goes out to all your body's organs and parts.
Signals out to your body's organs and telling them what to do. And if that system is compromised in any way, it affects those signals and how well your body as a whole functions.
Exactly. So if your alignment is off, depending on where it's at, you could have a certain organ that's only operating at 60% or even less capacity because of that misalignment, or maybe you have a pinch somewhere. And so it made sense to me that it would help. And we went to see Dr. Holly and Kyle Lovelace over at Queen City Health Center, and they are they're very big on holistic care and have a real I would say a fully encompassing view on health and very complete, as far as it's not just about being a back cracker.
They do a lot more than that.
Your sleep, your fitness, what you're eating, your food,
minimizing toxins,
making sure you have the right supplements, and
very holistic view of medicine and health in general.
Yes, and so it we had a pretty good concept of healthy eating, healthy food, before we started going to see them, and was able to build upon that and learn certain nuggets, just like if you eat anything organic, make sure it's your meat. That was one of the things that I learned that I remember because it's important if you could do
Everything.
everything, and then when I say organic meat, if it's beef, grass fed, right? Because cows were intended to eat grass. That's what they were. That's their supposed to be their main food source. And so when they're eating grains, it's actually making them sick. And then if they're sick and they're slaughtered, we eat them. You're eating sick meat. It's gonna
make you sick.
It's gonna make you sick, right? So just learning things like that is really good to build upon. And
one of the biggest things that came out of it, I think, though, was the sugar. Learning about sugar and how inflammatory sugar is and how addictive it is.
And how
it's actually more addictive than cocaine.
In everything. It's in everything.
Yeah.
Yes, I more, was it cocaine or heroin?
I think it was cocaine. But either way, it's extremely addictive.
Extremely addictive. And you could see that in our, it's very noticeable. It is literally in everything, and the amount of it. And now it's not just, processed white cane sugar you have to worry about. You also have to worry about what I call the, if sugar is the cocaine of the food world, then high fructose corn syrup is the crack. And so now you got to worry about all that stuff. And I mean, that's in ketchups and sauces and dressings. I mean, it's literally in everything.
And also artificial sweeteners, Splenda, sucralose, Sweet and Low, all of those, they're no better.
Oh, and then did you say Splenda and all that? Yeah, Splenda will actually decrease your guts, what do you call it, gut flora, like the good bacteria by like 50% or something. So that's extremely dangerous, and aspartame is basically like genetically modified, I forget what it is, like some type of mold, or I forget where they get it, but either way, bad stuff. So got to learn a lot about that, and we actually
went on a no sugar
under Dr. Holly's recommendation, we were going to do a no sugar cleanse, which was going to last for 28 days.
Was it November? No sugar November? Is that the?
That sounds about right.
I think that was the name of the event. And everybody, all the patients at the office were encouraged to take part in this.
And this had to be, we started seeing her in 2014, so this had to be 2015.
I know, I started seeing her in 2013 because I had Indy in 2015.
Oh, that's right.
Yeah.
So this was, okay, so this
I think it was November, December-ish of 2013, yeah.
No, what I'm saying, when we did the no sugar thing,
yeah,
that was 2014.
No, I think it was late 2013. It doesn't matter.
No, you had already had Indy.
Had I?
Yeah.
I didn't think I had. Okay.
Yeah, and so we decided to do that, and before we did, we just were like, okay,
let's. I did it too. Yeah, I would have had to have already had Indy.
And we said, let's just lessen our sugar. Let's prepare for this because it hadn't started yet. Let's just start decreasing the amount of sugar that we take in and prepare ourselves for this, because we know sugar is highly addictive. So, sometimes cutting cold turkey, you have mad cravings that you have to deal with and all that stuff. So we were just in the process of cutting down our sugar, and then we had also started our journey with essential oils then as well. And I remember I was lowering sugar intake. I had gotten sick, and I think it was because my body was detoxing from being off sugar, and so I started experiencing cold symptoms. And I remember we made like a soup with like broth and onions. I put lemon oil in it and some other oil, that was supposed to be really good for immune system. And then that caused me to go and break out in hives. I had my immune system went into hyperdrive or overdrive.
Yeah, overactive.
It went overactive after taking that stuff, that boosts your immune system. And I broke out in hives for the first time, and it was horrible. It was awful. Hives are no fun, and they flare up. They could go away and then come back, and so it was a little odd. I didn't know exactly why it had happened, but I remember that because not soon after I started developing what appeared to be psoriasis in between my fingers here. And I remember I was working in the food and beverage industry. I was at a country club working in the restaurant, and I washed my hands a lot. And so I thought, well, maybe it's just, dry skin or eczema because I've been, washing my hands. And then it never went away. It kind of started getting worse.
You had other symptoms too.
I had some other symptoms, and then I looked it up, and
what was the exact thing that you looked up?
Well,
I think that's important.
Well, I looked up about psoriasis because I figured it was psoriasis.
Yeah, so but you were like, what really causes psoriasis?
Well, that was later. So I found something about psoriasis, and I found all these different types, and I forget what type it was specifically, but I read the symptoms, and I was like, wow, this sounds exactly like what I had, and I kind of got teary-eyed because psoriasis is an autoimmune disease, and I'm thinking to myself, I'm relatively healthy, I'm young, there's no reason why I should have an autoimmune disease.
Doesn't make any sense.
And so I went on to Google, I typed in what really causes psoriasis, and it's just how my brain works. I don't take it that, I just have an autoimmune disease and that's how it is. No, there has to be a reason and a root cause to this happening. So I Googled what really causes psoriasis, and it was like maybe the second or third result down, and it was in big caps. It said something on, attention, read this, something about Candida overgrowth. And I'm like, Candida overgrowth? What is that? And so I click on it, and I'm reading about it. I'm reading the symptoms, which is like 2 pages long. It's crazy the amount of symptoms that take place when you have Candida overgrowth. And what Candida overgrowth is it's essentially a yeast infection in your gut. We all have Candida yeast in our stomach, but when it outgrows when it gets overgrown and in a way where it's more than the good bacteria, it starts to cause these symptoms and these issues in its gut imbalance. Mm-hmm. And so, and I won't go through the list of symptoms now. I don't remember all of them. There's a whole bunch of them, but I know it was hair loss, being very, what's the word I'm looking for? Like easily agitated. Irritability. ADD, ADHD is a symptom. Insomnia, which is what I was dealing with, insomnia then. Mm-hmm. Exhaustion, extreme exhaustion. Fatigue. I started to like sleep a lot more. Once I, the psoriasis started breaking out and everything, and just a whole host of symptoms, jock itch, rashes breaking out. And so it was, and Google it for yourself. Check, if you've never heard of it, look at Candida overgrowth, take a look at all the symptoms. It's crazy how much, and I think at that time, there were doctors and physicians that actually denied of its existence and basically said it wasn't a thing. And so what they would do is just write prescriptions to treat the symptoms that this thing causes, all while ignoring the root cause and never addressing that. And so I I took this information to my chiropractor, Dr. Holly, and I was like, "You ever heard of this?" Like, it sounds exactly like I literally have had these symptoms, all these symptoms since I was 18, and I was 30 at this time, so 12 years.
But it got a lot worse when we started the no sugar.
Oh yeah, it did. And so, but it was crazy because I was living with these symptoms so long that I figured, oh, this is just it's just how I am as a part of life. It becomes regular and it becomes very normal for you, so you don't really see it as a huge deal. But after reading all the symptoms, I was like, oh my gosh, I've been struggling with this stuff for 12 years, and I just thought it was just the way I am. And so I took the information to Dr. Holly, and she's like, "Oh yeah, I have heard of that." And she told me you could actually, I think she said it sounds like that's what it is. And she looked at the psoriasis I had and all that, and she goes, "You could do a spit test. You could do a test at home to see if that's what it is." And how you do that is you take a glass of water, you put it by your bed, on your nightstand or whatever. And the first thing in the morning, you spit into the water. And if you have Candida, what will happen is you spit and a little will float on top, but then you'll see strand, which is yeast, and it'll dangle down in the water, and you'll be able to see the strands of it, and that will confirm that that's what it is. Because it also, one of the symptoms is thrush. It causes thrush, which is like what, extra yeast in your mouth essentially. And so went home, went to bed and did that the next morning, spit into a glass, and sure enough, I had, it showed that I had Candida overgrowth. So consulted with Dr. Holly, went, basically researched the Candida diet, what I could and could not eat, and it is intense. I mean, it's more intense than a paleo diet. It essentially had to get all grains.
Anything that metabolizes the sugar. So no carbs, no grains, no pasta, no rice, no bread. Very, very limited fruits. Like, I think the only fruits you could eat were berries and green apples, because they're very low in sugar.
Even natural sugar, I had to get off all of it.
Everything.
Berries were good because they were high in antioxidants.
Also, no pork.
Yes, no processed meats.
No processed meats. No processed foods.
Essentially, what it did was it put me on a biblically clean diet before I even knew what a biblically clean diet was. So no pork, no shellfish, none of that, because those foods are known, and this is scientifically proven, that they are high in toxicity, and mainly because of how their digestive systems work and what they eat, right? So
we'll get into more of
that was a journey in itself, learning what I could and couldn't eat, and it really took a lot. I mean, it was crazy going over to people's, going to see my family. I mean, it took them a long time to understand exactly what I could and couldn't eat, but it was a struggle. I mean, we're talking, no mushrooms, because of the fungus, or the fact that they're subject to molding, right? No cheeses because of the same reason. No root vegetables.
We weren't really doing dairy anyway.
No, we did goat cheese, which I was still able to do, but no root vegetables.
Starchy.
So I had to go through this whole routine, and it took me a while to really get under wraps, because there's different things. I think one of the things that I did was I fasted for 7 days, And the reason for that was because I read that if you fast for 5 days, it actually will reboots your whole gut. And I was like, oh, well, the problem is my gut, so I need to reboot it. And then there's also some things that correlate with having Candida overgrowth, and that's leaky gut and also parasites. So I did a whole routine, changing my diet, getting off sugar completely, and I did this for 2.5 years. And on top of that, I was taking essential oils, things that would kill, that are considered antifungal, and you want to switch it up in order to kill it off. So I mean, grapefruit seed extract,
oil of oregano,
clove oil, coconut oil, apple cider vinegar, and then and I would change it up because apparently the Candida yeast gets used to something. It's very smart and very invasive, so you have to confuse it and switch things up. Also got some supplements online. There's a couple of Candida cleanses that they actually sell that are pill form that I took, and then obviously because I was supposed to stay away from pork and stuff, you just make sure it's vegetable capsules and all that stuff. But it was pretty intense, and my symptoms actually got worse. They got a lot worse before they got better.
And that's how we were able to make sense of the fact that when you went on the no sugar cleanse, why it popped up. Because
Candida
when you start killing it off, you have what's known as die-off symptoms.
It's called Candida die-off.
And that's where the psoriasis came into play. It was a die-off symptom along with all of the other symptoms that you had.
Yes, because Candida will eat sugar, and so I was starving it of its food and at the same time killing it, and that angers it. And so it actually releases like 76 or 79 different toxins into your body when you're killing it off. And that's why the psoriasis pops up, because it's actually toxins like essentially oozing out of your skin. And the psoriasis does, it would ooze. Yeah. And it popped up right in between my fingers. I had it when it was really bad. I had it on the top of my head. I had it in spots on my arm and stuff. So it was pretty intense. My insomnia got worse. My fatigue got worse. So it's kind of crazy because you would go back and forth where you'd have insomnia, but then also you would have fatigue. Irritability increased, and that was hard on her. And also just being a new father as well, and just being easily angered, with having kids. It's not really a good thing to do, or a good environment. So and like I said, I switched up a lot of things in that 2.5 years, and finally was able to cure myself of an autoimmune disease by changing what I ate. So this only solidified more to me that health starts in your gut. That is the starting point of where your health begins, and that just because you could eat it does not mean that it is food, or that it's good.
That you should.
That you should, and that it's good for you. So, did you have any questions? Did I cover it pretty well, or?
No, I think you covered everything pretty well. It's interesting how going through all of that is kind of part of what led us into.
So after
being Torah pursuing.
After I talked to our chiropractor, and she told me no processed foods, no shellfish, no pork, and I went on this biblically clean diet, I would say that I mean, what was it, like 5 months after that we came into Torah?
I think so. Yeah. Well, it was right after Kale was born.
It was in
Shortly after Kale was born, so 2016.
2016, and then we came into Torah in the fall of 2016.
Yeah.
Right,
So
right during
we
Sukkot.
started the no sugar cleanse in late 2015.
It was like September.
So yeah.
It was like September.
It wasn't long after that. So we found out
August, September, or something like that.
What food is according to the Bible, and we were like, oh, well, this is easy. We're already doing this.
It's crazy. It's really like Yah just eased us into what he was about to bring us into, and the truth that he was bringing us into. So it was really cool. And looking back on it, like, because we didn't know what was going on then, you know, I just knew I had all these health issues, and then I was trying to solve the problem, and I did it all without going to a doctor, other than our chiropractor, and I was able to heal myself of an autoimmune disease just by changing what I ate, and that kind of being on the no sugar for 2.5 years, even when I came off of it after I had gotten rid of the psoriasis and didn't have any more symptoms, I still stayed on a very low sugar diet, just started introducing more natural sugars, still staying away from processed stuff. And the way we did that was we really had to learn how to get around certain foods and make healthier versions of them. Like, she started making healthy, grain-free, essentially sugar-free desserts, right? Which was great for me because I went into hardcore sugar withdrawals after, going on a no-sugar diet. My body started craving pastas and rice and just sweet things, which I'm not a big sweets guy in general, so it was kind of odd. But she did a really good job making healthy desserts and tricking my body into think I was giving it something that it needed. But and I don't know, maybe I could maybe do like a blog or dive more into exactly how I treated it, because there was a lot that goes into it. One of the things I didn't mention was diatomaceous earth, taking a tablespoon of that with a tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, and that helps kill parasites. It also helps kill the Candida yeast, and so that was a very and I don't think I found out about that until like a year into doing my Candida diet and all that stuff. And then there's maple sugar with maple syrup with baking soda. Disgusting. But apparently it's really good for Candida. It acts as a Trojan horse because the maple syrup will attract the Candida yeast, and then the baking soda kills it. And I heard mixed things about it wasn't good to get completely off of sugar when you're doing a Candida diet, because the Candida will actually start traveling up your intestines looking for food. And so you want to I guess give your body a little bit of sugar, and doing that with baking soda, it helps act as a Trojan horse because it attracts the Candida, and then the baking soda kills it. But it was pretty intense and pretty it took a lot of willpower, for sure. And especially because things got worse after starting it. Typically, it makes you want to quit. Like, oh, it's not right, it's not working. But knowing that it getting worse actually means it's getting better was very helpful to know, and it just showed that I was doing the right thing, and I just had to tough it out. And it's something that I didn't want to have, and that I didn't want to come back ever again, because the symptoms are pretty brutal. So I mean, it's just not just physical; it's also mental. It affects your hormones and also spiritual. Man, it definitely is a spiritual thing. So
And that's one of the things we'll talk about in the future. We're going to do some more of these videos because, like we said in the beginning, health is a big passion of ours, and we've really been feeling led lately to
and also
share our health journey with you guys. I've seen a lot of people, even in the Torah community, not in the Torah community, just people in general, dealing with Candida and dealing with the types of symptoms that he went through. And maybe they don't even know that it's Candida or that Candida is the root cause. One of the things that we found out when you started going through this was that if Candida goes unchecked or untreated, it can lead to cancer. So there's no telling how many people out there who are dealing with cancer because cancer feeds on sugar.
it feeds on sugar, and also the maple syrup, baking soda. Actually, I've heard people with cancer use that as a alternative treatment as well. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of correlations between the two. Yep. But yeah, it's definitely a passion of ours, and also ties into our spiritual walk as well, right? So just another reason of why it's such an important topic for us. And you know, we want to share our journey in hopes that it might help you, or you know,
Anyone who's
anyone
watching.
just really one person, because we know that, you know, there's a lot of misconceptions about health. There's a lot of people who struggle with it, and you know, we live in a, you know, pretty sophisticated nation, but we have one of the worst states of health as a nation in the industrialized world. So why is that? You know, what's going on? What needs to change to turn this ship around? Because
Yeah, those are all topics that
it's
we
pretty
want
bad.
to tackle
So
here on our channel. So I think we should probably wrap it up because
Yeah.
this has been pretty long.
I
But
think that was. This is part one. We have part two coming up. We will be discussing what is food, and what does
what exactly is a biblically clean diet? What does
Yes.
that mean? Because there's a lot of misconceptions about that as well. So we'll be getting into that next. And we've got a long list of topics that we're going to cover over the next few months with regard to health and where we've been on our journey and where we're going. And really the goal is to get back to Torah, his ways, his original design for humanity. Even though we live in a fallen world, we believe that it's possible for us to pursue that ancient path and really get back to what he intended for us, which is blessings and life and health. And so those are all things that we're going to be discussing more in the future. And if you all have any questions for us, please reach out. We definitely want to cover topics that are of interest to you. So if you have anything specific that you want us to talk about, let us know.
And I will say too, with our health journey, we've really come full circle, and it's a journey that we're still having, right? It's not over. It you know, just when I think I think
we haven't come full circle.
I know. Well, yeah. Well, in a way, but we'll get into that in the next in part two, I believe. But you know, we're still learning, and we're still on this journey, and it's a lifelong thing, right? And so we just want to share, you know, what that journey looks like for us, and where we started, and where we're at now, and where we feel that, you know, Yahweh is leading us. So
thank you for watching. If this is your first time here, thank you. Welcome. If it's not your first time here, welcome back. If you liked this video, if it was helpful to you in any way, please share it. Click the thumbs up and subscribe to our channel, and make make sure you hit the notification bell to stay updated for when we release new videos.
Yeah. Thanks. Cheers.
Cheers.